Welcome, my beautiful souls, and welcome, my gorgeous Aries. Um, I have a feeling this is going to be a really good reading, and I'll tell you why. Before I even begin a reading, I spend quite a few time just shuffling the cards and really meditating on your sign. But that's really when I'm really opening up to our spirit guides to bring you like clear messages. And I have to tell you, one card came out like 5 times. I'm not going to tell you what the card is yet. Um, I just want to see if it comes out again. I have a feeling it's going to. And yes, it is talking about love. But don't think this is just a love reading. So by the way, this is going to be for Aries, Sun, Moon, or Rising. You could definitely have a combination of that. You, many of you are intuitively guided, and I thank you for just trusting your intuition. You know, when you find a reading and you may say to yourself, I don't think I have Aries in my chart. I feel like we have a little bit of everything. We're all soul connected, we're all energy. So, if it feels right, it probably is right. And you should know pretty quickly because you should feel this type of reading. It is a soul to soul reading. So I am reading to your soul from my soul and our guides. Some of you may be in love with an Aries platonically or romantically. Just same thing. Know your guides, know you're here, and just be open to receiving messages yourself. Something I'm going to say, which a lot of people don't like, but sometimes when you watch a reading, the first time you watch it, it's like with your human ears. And then if you go back and watch a reading, like if something makes you watch it again, let's put it that way. It's usually because now you have your spiritual ears on, so you hear messages in a different way. I know it's the truth. Um, I tell people who get personal readings all the time, like watch your reading more than once. By the way, speaking of personal readings, I am doing a special for October. Anyone who gets a personal reading in October, your name will be entered into a contest to win a future free reading. Um, and there's no stipulations, there's no deadline. The only thing I ask, it does have to be scheduled. That's it. But other than that, so whatever type of reading you purchase would be, or let's just put it this way, if you end up getting like an emergency reading, which, is more, then you'll get that value back in the free reading. So, you know, it'll just match. But anyway, I just want to let you know that. And that's what I tell people who get personal readings. And many of you have gotten them. Um, Listen to them more than once. Keep them in your back pocket. And remember, this is for the month of November. So things may look one way in the beginning of the month, and all of a sudden things start to change. And Aries, you have been, let's see, I've done 6 readings. You will be the seventh. You were probably in 4 of those 7 readings, like in prominent places. So, what is going on? um, all right, let's go ahead and get into the reading. So, we will give Mother Mary the honor of opening up our reading. We're going to use the crystal vision to clarify and go deeper. By the way, I have the clarifying love situations and the romance angels there already, pre-shuffled. We're going to use the major arcanas, which are like bullet points for anyone who's new. It just, I feel like it adds a lot of value, another level to our readings. And, that's why the readings are long. You know, it's interesting. Someone thanked me for not doing like making you pay for extended readings. I could never do that. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying I couldn't do that. Like, I couldn't leave you hanging. Um, and that's why they're longer. So, anyway, we will use the Tarot of Dreams for your main spread. And let's go ahead and open this reading. I mean, it's open the minute I hit start. But I have been time stamping my readings lately too, which is something new for me. All right, Aries, shout out to my friend on the 22nd. Devotion. As I fully commit to my values, relationships, and God, I am clear about what to do next. Devotion. I just knew more cards wanted to come out. All right. So we start with devotion. Then we have be strong. Be strong, Aries. I pull myself up and do what needs to be done. Interesting because I am clear about what to do next. And I pull myself up and do what needs to be done. And then we have boundaries. I am clear and honest with others about my expectations. That's probably important. And I get this sense for some of you, it's like I'm not willing to lower my vibration for you. And I don't mean you, I mean like you're saying it. By the way, when I say me in a reading, I'm just you right now. So I definitely feel that, like, I feel like you're evolving, and there could be energies or people around you that aren't. And it may feel like resistance or something doesn't feel right. Well, it could literally be that, again, your vibration is rising, others aren't, and that energy just doesn't feel comfortable anymore. There's nothing to apologize about. Okay, so I am going to put them back, though I have them flipped just in case, but I won't forget what's there. All right, let's bring in the major arcana. Well, that was weird. Let's try that again. All right. Give them a cut. Let's begin. I truly love this deck in your readings. I just feel like it brings so much extra value. Well, hello, lovers. Hello, lovers. And then, hello, chariot. Interesting because they're neighbors, Gemini and Cancer. The lovers is ahead of a heart decision, but it's truly undeniable chemistry. It's interesting that we open this reading up with the lovers. So some of you, like, literally making a head over heart decision. And I love the chariot next to the lovers because the chariot really represents unlimited potential. And the only limit on our potential is what our human mind puts upon it. The chariot is, let's put it this way, the chariot comes in when there is balance of the feminine and the masculine, the light and the shadow, but within oneself. But I have a feeling it's probably important that both these lovers maybe be in the same energy. A chariot can represent a car, so it can mean movement. Some of you out of the blue, like, don't be surprised in November and December because we're closing out this final chapter. So don't be surprised if you start to feel like resistance or, I don't know, some type of energy that is really meant to tell you, like, or maybe meant to have you look again at certain people, situations, and decide, who am I going to invite for this next 9 years? We're moving into year one, year of the magician, the alchemist. You are now the alchemist. What do you want to do with that energy? You know, in a way, it's kind of beautiful that the magician follows the hermit because that is deep reflection over one's life. And, if we use the hermit's energy for what it's meant for, then you go into, let's just say 2026 or the year of the magician, ready. And I feel there's something magical just in that alone. But I'm feeling that for you. Hmm. There's a beautiful rainbow behind them, behind the chariot. Okay, let's keep going. By the way, I do want to remind you that the chariot is moved by your intentions. So if you think that this, let's say this is love, can be unlimited, then so it shall be. But let's say, again, using the energy of the hermit, you decide not to clear old energy. Well, in a way, I feel like then the chariot may show up with a couple flat tires. Well, hello, destiny. So, interesting that the lovers is mirroring your will, your destiny. I kind of love this image because this person is getting ready to spin that wheel, but she has a blindfold on. So she's trusting in blind faith. She's trusting in faith. Where do I want to go in that chariot? Anywhere I want to go. Like I'm going to spin that wheel, wherever that wheel lands is where I'm going to go. Now, what I mean by that is you're going to feel, I just know you're going to feel certain energy pulling you towards it. And I feel like this is the type of energy, go without resistance. It doesn't mean like, you're going from an ace to a 10, but like stepping into something. And it may be love. So I fully commit to my values, relationships, and God. I'm clear with what to do next. And then I pull myself up and I do what needs to be done. And I'm clear and honest with others about my expectations. Okay, I don't know what made me read that again. But that makes so much sense, right? So we have the lovers. I will tell you that the card that kept coming out was a card of love. It's not the lovers, but it's a card of love. All right, let's slide these up and let's bring in the Tarot of Dreams. Let's see where that chariot's taking you. By the way, again, the chariot is your intentions, but I feel like now it's two people's intentions. Do you follow your head or do you follow your heart? Well, the Chariot showing up right after the Lovers, which is cups, emotions. I feel like you're following your heart. And let's just see where it's going to lead. Okay, well, these two didn't want to come up. The Nine of Pentacles, beautiful. Successful self-employment. And when I see your major arcana, the Emperor, I often feel that they'd be perfect, like owning a business. Because you are like the leader of the people, you are the seed planter. And this is about material harvest. This is your harvest, your work. And you are the one who reaps the benefits from that. You got a lot of Mercury right there. Eight of Swords, that's probably why. I just realized there's a lot of Mercury. And I'm saying that because this is a card of Virgo and a card of Gemini, and they're both ruled by Mercury. We have the Eight of Swords, self-created prison. This image, I look at her and I think, there she is naked, right? So that's about being one's authentic self. But she's got her back to us. So I feel like there's an issue with her being her authentic self, her or him. It's almost like I don't want the world to see me, but we can clearly see her. Hmm. Some reason she's not trusting within herself. And that may relate to love, because financially, you look good. Financially, the Nine of Cup or the Nine of Pentacles is material harvest. Okay. It's like the Eight of Swords coming under the Lovers, like I want to follow my heart, but my head keeps getting in the way. It makes me feel like you're doing pretty good in your money. Or if you have any ideas of like things that you want to create, avenues to an existing business, or starting your own business, I would say this would definitely back that up. Because I don't feel the Eight of Swords over your money, I feel it's over your heart. Some of you may work from home. You may think, like, how am I going to meet someone? Like, I could see someone being a homebody. But listen, I was at home when my phone rang, right? And it just so happened to be the love of my life. Well, hello, Ace of Wands. Wow. Passion ignited. You can't hide from it. You can't hide from it. Some of you probably didn't expect that your heart chakra would be activated. But then here it is being activated. And the Ace of Wands really talks about action. Like it's go time. But I feel like maybe because the Eight of Swords is before it, where again, I'm kind of like holding myself away from the world, that Ace of Wands is still going to reach you. So you're still going to feel, you may not know what it is. And how interesting that it is coming under the Chariot, which is movement. Even the wheel is about to move. I feel like this is really saying, trust in your intuition, like not your fear-based mind. This may be higher than what you can even imagine, or better. But in the Eight of Swords, that means that I haven't used the Hermit's energy completely, right? Because self-created prison. But I get it. I get it. You know, if I've been through hell relating to love, then it's very hard then to just be open. But I have a feeling it's meant to be. So I don't feel like it's something that would just leave. Hmm. You know, in the Eight of Swords, it is like creating a barrier around oneself. And there's nothing wrong with creating boundaries. These are barriers. These are like walls, you know, where nothing can touch you. At least that's what you thought. And then comes the Ace of Wands. It's like, damn it, what am I feeling? Am I ready to feel it? Well, let's keep going. Some of you, it could be something that just like comes out of the blue, like not expected. Yet here it is. And it sits upon your wheel anyway. That, you know, to me, the chariot's moving into the wheel's energy, destiny. So you're moving towards destined time. And put that with the magician's energy, like, wow, the full perfect. You know, I often feel like when we uncreate this prison, it is freedom. It is that feeling of freedom. And it definitely, to me, means that there's something of the past that maybe hasn't been cleared. So it does affect your present day energy, your decisions. I don't really feel like it affected your money. You know, I get this feeling like I closed myself down for love and poured my energy into my creativity. And I feel like you're doing pretty well there. Some of you may speak for a living, you know, using Mercury. But again, do I follow my fear based mind or do I give something a shot? And I love that the Fool shows because the Fool is definitely reflected on the past. And the Fool understands that my past has taught me, it's given me wisdom, courage, strength. You know, the Fool is a reminder that you have all the tools on the table, like they're all at your disposal. And the Fool, normally you'll see, carries his little knapsack and is guided by, usually you'll see like a little doggy, which I feel like is a spirit guide. So the Ace of Wands, it's starting at the beginning. And that may be exactly the best way to go, right? Let's just put our toes in the water. But remember, the Fool means that I reflected upon. I feel like the only thing you really need to reflect upon is that Eight of Swords right now. All right, we're going to do 5 across. We have the 10 of Pentacles. Look at that. From the 9 of Pentacles to the 10 of Pentacles, and they're mirroring each other. I'm going to slide these over a little bit. They're mirroring each other. And then we have the Moon, card of Pisces, ruler of Cancer. So we do have double Cancer on the board. I mean, you know, when I see the 10 of Pentacles or the 10 of Cups, I don't feel you're alone in that energy. I feel this is now a home. And in the Ten of Pentacles, to me, it's energy that can truly take root. This is a house of abundance, ideas, epiphanies. Um, I've seen you in a lot of readings with the Empress, who I call my power couple. And even though we don't see the Empress, I feel this energy of being able to like feed ideas off of each other, maybe even potentially working together. I feel like the moon is representing two things here. Number one is uncertainty. And, many of us are uncomfortable moving forward without knowing, like, exactly where this will land. But the thing is, what we have to remember is we're really writing it as we go. This is the potential. But let's say we don't free ourselves from that Eight of Swords. I still feel like your heart chakra is going to be activated, but will you allow yourself then to be the Fool who is connected to your destiny? So this is you, if you allow. And don't forget, the moon can also talk about very dreamy type energy. That can be scary. All right, let's keep going. Hello, Ace of Cups. So I was picking that up, right? That's where that Eight of Swords is. It's created due to love. It is mirroring the lovers. So, this is unconditional love. And who knows, this may be something that's coming back again, whether it be of previous lifetimes, which I do feel, but even of this lifetime. I mean, the Ace of Cups mirroring the lovers. The only thing that's coming in between that is that self created prison. And I feel like the moon answers the why, right? Because maybe I feel like I haven't been that lucky in love. What makes this any different? Well, think about your energy though. Like, have you been working to raise your own vibration? Well, just by the law of attraction alone, right? What you put out there must come back to you. When I'm in a fear based mind, I feel like it doesn't stop this, but will you then allow yourself to be that fool? And, the fool's about taking a leap of faith. And I feel like the uncertainty is may be what stops you. But this Ace of Wands, like it's meant to activate your heart chakra. This Ace of Cups, it's meant to come in. When you see your will, this is what's meant to happen. And the lover's mirroring that. All right, well, let's keep going. We have the Tower. I have a feeling we are looking also at past lives here. Look at this, the Magician, the Fool's greatest mentor, and he's connected right to the Fool. And by the way, the Magician is mirroring your will, your destiny. This is powerful, Aries. This is your power. And then we have the Hangman. I feel like the Magician is talking to the Fool. Because the Magician does remind the Fool exactly what I reminded you of. You have all the tools on the table. to be successful. You really do. And the hangman is seeking wisdom to use on this spiritual path, on this, I should say, earthly path. But I'm seeking spiritual wisdom to help me. I'm looking for enlightenment. What's mirroring the moon. And I feel like what it's saying is like allow something just to be dreamy without having to put stipulations upon it. And again, the Fool and the Magician, 0 and then 1, the beginning. The Aces, the beginning. But even the Ten of Pentacles kind of answers the question. And another thing I want to say is I feel like whoever is in the lovers with you, I don't feel like this is someone who takes away from you. You know what I mean? Like that would affect you, like financially. If anything, I feel they would only help supplement that in a way. I don't know if that's the right word. This tower is made out of gold, as is the Ace of Cups. And this tower, I feel like, is definitely talking about past lives. And who knows, you could have had a past life together where maybe it wasn't like your ultimate goals were not fulfilled. So you're in this lifetime to see if you can fill them. And the Eight of Swords is a human emotion. You know, it's interesting because I feel like this reading wants to build you up, but wants you to believe in that, believe in yourself and your abilities, um, even love, you know, that it can just happen out of the blue. And I feel like that's exactly how love happens, out of the blue. All right, let's see what's on the bottom of the deck. Four of Swords, beautiful. Healing. I feel like it's asking you to allow yourself to heal. Listen, in the Eight of Swords, it was probably energy for someone that, you know, you couldn't control anyway. Like, I don't feel like you could have been treated that well. Otherwise, I don't feel you'd ever create those barriers. And I'm not saying that you wasted any time because I feel that you poured your energy into your creative house and you are reaping the benefits of that, or you soon will be. You know, this Ace of Wands, it is passion and it is ignited, but it means action. Like it's go time. And the Fool's like, I'm ready. Especially having his greatest mentor right there beside him or her. All right, let's bring in the crystal vision. Let's go deeper. Let's see a little bit more about the Eight of Swords, but also the Ace of Cups. You know, the truth is, if we could just remove that Eight of Swords, even with the Tower here, because I don't feel like the Tower, you know, the Tower is still together. Like normally you'll see like the steeple knocked over, but it's not here. It like takes this strike of lightning, but it's still standing. So if this is relating to love, especially a past life love, there's a lot of strength with that. There's a lot of ability to overcome like any earthly challenges. All right, did I don't know if I shuffled these, so I'm gonna give them a shuffle. I probably did, but doesn't hurt to do it again. Just give them a cut. And for anybody new, I also want to let you know that the reason why I cut every deck is I want to introduce it to into an ongoing reading. So I wanted just to pick up where we left off. This is what I ask my guides for anyway. Sometimes it works, sometimes I was going to say sometimes it doesn't, but sometimes it's not that it doesn't work. Oh, Ten of Swords. Okay. So that wasn't easy. This this is like taking dagger after dagger in your back. But I do feel like it's also submission. Like it's just what I'm used to. There's no happiness in this energy, but it's just what I'm used to. And, I have a feeling some of you may have been in a relationship and maybe not treated so well. I don't feel like it affected your money. I really feel like that's why you maybe became more creative than ever. This can talk about a repeat pattern, but this is not a good repeat pattern. And I have a feeling this is talking about someone that you loved who put these daggers in your back. And I feel like this answers a question for you like, how do I know? Like, let's say this person comes back. Well, that's another reason why the Eight of Swords is important to uncreate that because you want to trust your energy. And I feel like when you go through the energy of the Ten of Swords and you overcome it, let's say, I don't feel like you repeat it again because now you know it. Like now you can read that energy. And that's really what you want to go on. Like you're like reading energy, your intuition. But I do feel like this is telling you, for those who've like given someone multiple chances, that this just may not be your person. It may have come to completion, but really in your favor. Though I know when you're in this energy, it doesn't feel like that. But there's that Four of Swords. And the Four of Swords is healing of the heart, but also of the mind. The thought system. It does make me understand more about why the Eight of Swords is here. But again, that's old energy. I mean, even if you're still in it, there's no way you're happy in it. And maybe your fantasy is to jump in that chariot. That doesn't have to be a fantasy. Like, I feel like you can make it reality. You just have to, be a little ballsy. Because I feel otherwise, this old energy, I feel like it keeps you in that Eight of Swords. And, that self created prison, you're the only one who can uncreate that. It's hard to allow yourself to love again after you've been through something very difficult. But I feel like what your spiritual team is showing you is something completely different. Seven of Cups. So, Seven of Cups means a cup has come in. Well, here is that literal cup. And this is making a decision. This can talk about chaotic energy. Like it could happen on a chaotic day in a chaotic moment. But it does mean that even in the Eight of Swords, you receive this cup. You feel it. And I kind of, I don't love the Seven of Swords, but next to the Ten of Swords makes me feel like at least I may be thinking about it. Maybe, maybe, maybe. I feel like this other lover, their chances are getting a little bit better. We have the Two of Swords. Interesting. So he came down from the Eight of Swords to the Two of Swords. And I have to say, the Two Swords, it can be blocking an opportunity. And I see that. Um, but it does talk about a blindfold. It's interesting because the person about to spin the wheel also has a blindfold on. And in the Two of Swords, I feel like this blindfold may be because there's something I don't want to face, but it definitely serves you to face it. This Ace of Wands is going to help you face it. And I feel like that's why we come down from the 8 to the 2. The Two of Swords, I kind of find that to be natural fear. You know what I mean? Like, holy shit, someone has activated my heart chakra. Now what? Now what do I do? I feel like you're an earth angel with a broken wing. I don't know what's making me say that, but I feel that. Like you are an earth angel, but you have a broken wing. And it's hard to fly with a broken wing. But let's not forget that healing. This feels like it's slowly, potentially moving in a good direction. And let me tell you, if this is of a past life, there will be a special feeling you'll have. And that may be why we see you going from the 8 to the 2 so quickly. Like, I can't deny what I'm feeling. But the fear is, will it result in a tower? Will it result in the Ten of Swords? We have the Knight of Wands who flipped itself around over the Fool. And then we have the Star. Interesting. Your hopes, your dreams, your wishes over the Ten of Cups. I feel like you want to share your life with someone. I feel as your money goes, I feel like the Star, it's not just about love. But I feel like the Ace of Wands with the Star, not only is it going to activate that heart chakra, because some of you may have been subconsciously hoping for love, wishing for love. But listen, I know not just any old love. And it's interesting, the Knight of Wands in reverse. I feel like it may be the unwillingness to take action, even though you're feeling it. I even feel this is potential epiphanies as it relates to your money, like new ideas, like new avenues that you're adding. Something is making you not trust it. I know it has to be that Ten of Swords. The star is mirroring that. Even the hangman, right? Seeking spiritual wisdom to use on this earthly plane. How do I make my wishes come true? First thing I got to do is uncreate that prison. Think of the Empress, even the Emperor, right? Great readers of energy. So I don't need to create walls. My intuition is my guidance, is my protector. Star, also card of Aquarius. But it is kind of like you are blocking this Knight of Wands is coming in. Okay. Let's just put it this way. Who's ever coming in is not going to have an easy time. Hello, Nine of Cups. Beautiful. A Nine of Cups speaks about inner harmony, but also fulfillment of wishes, and it's literally following your wish card. I feel like the more that you can release energy that's just no longer serving you and put that trust back in yourself, like that you can read this energy. You want to be like the Fool, though. Because here is an opportunity for you to find that inner harmony that I feel like you've been searching for. But not just that. Again, fulfillment of wishes. You have two nines right here, beautiful nines. One really speaks about your independent nature, right? Your ability to, create something out of nothing. I definitely see your money just being amplified. And I feel like that brings you inner harmony. But I feel like you are still seeking. You may not be seeking love, but love is seeking you. Let's just put it that way. We have the Nine of Wands, three nines in a row. And then we have the Two of Pentacles. Okay, I don't mind this at all because we've gone from the Two of Swords to the Two of Pentacles. Two Swords, fear-based mind. Two Pentacles, logical mind. The Nine of Wands coming right before that, over that Ace of Cups. This is reflection. But this is looking back in a completely different way. No judgment. This is looking back and saying to yourself, especially if you may not have overcome the Ten of Swords yet, but you probably have left it. Or that's what you want. So the Nine of Wands is really about building you back up. I call this person my spirit warrior because every wand behind you is an adventure you've had, something that you've had to overcome, and you did. This is what made you who you are today, and I feel like that's what your spiritual team wants you to be proud of. Don't beat yourself up because you got stuck in the web of the Ten of Swords. That's part of life. I feel like many of us do, but it may have taught us a lot also. The one thing I feel like it teaches us as it relates to love, what we don't want. What we don't want. Like, if someone's not proactive, then I may think about it differently. But I feel like this is the perfect energy to have out right now. Because I feel like this is you freeing yourself. And this is you looking back with a different light, with a spiritual lens. Instead of saying, like, what the hell was I thinking? Say, what did I learn? What has this taught me? And now the Two of Pentacles, it's like now you're thinking differently. You know, in many readings, when I see a tower, and many get fearful of the tower, sometimes I feel like we go back and thank that tower. Because without that tower, maybe we would have never made the movement where we do find ourselves in this abundance with inner harmony, with wishes about to be fulfilled. And we know they're about to be fulfilled because the person is literally spinning the wheel. You know, these nines that keep coming up, they definitely want you to reflect. But reflect again with the spiritual lens. Look how this messed up all my cards. The Eight of Cups. Beautiful. Beautiful. The Five of Pentacles. Five of Swords. And the Six of Cups. Interesting. Makes me wonder if some of you are jumping in that chariot, like your car, and you may be making a move. Six of Cups talks about nostalgia, and it's following two difficult cards. The Hangman. The Hangman is seeking this wisdom because, you know, it tells me that something may have happened outside of your control, but at the same time, the Five of Swords tells you that it was toxic to you anyway. It was no longer serving your highest good. If anything, it was taking away from it. And the Eight of Cups is that reflection, emotional reflection. And I love this coming over the Emperor because this literally means that you are giving yourself a new chance, a new beginning. This is an eight. Eight is a new beginning. It's also a number of infinity. As above, so below. This Nine of Cups. And now the Eight of Cups, especially over the Magician. I feel like you're reflecting. But now when I reflect, I may see that these 10 swords, and even though it hurt, you know, I can definitely see that. This is not about that. This is about what's next, if you allow. And for some of you, I feel like the Ten of Swords, like whoever caused that, I feel like, I don't feel like they're still part of your life, so to speak. For some, it can be. For some, you may still be in it. But I do feel like if you are, you're also in this hangman position, seeking wisdom. It's interesting that the Six of Cups is mirroring the Lovers and also the Seven of Cups. Six of Cups, nostalgia, but it can talk about someone, you know, someone that you would have happy memories of. This could be something that happens out of the blue. It's how it happened for me. And, you know, I often read the Six of Cups. It can be someone that you already know, but probably from back in the day. Again, though, if you do, this would be someone you have happy memories of, but I often read this also as past lives. And this may be the destined time for what I feel soulmates to come together. And I don't know, maybe it's just from reading tarot for so long, but I do have to say that I have found that before great love enters our door, we have just gone through something difficult. And who knows, maybe it's part of a soul's test. Can they overcome? Will they overcome? Your spiritual team knows that you can, but your earthly mind has to know that too. All right, well, let's keep going. I feel some of you have been feeling blocked, but I feel like you have a lot more control over that than you know. And I feel like it comes through reflection. Like it doesn't, like, reflection seems to be the name of the game here. We have the Queen of Pentacles, Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn. I call this person my psychic detective, and I have a feeling it's you, unless you're connected to um, this queen in some way. But I do feel it's more you. And, this queen is someone that I feel definitely has learned to read energy. She can read between the lines. And I feel like if, let's just say her heart chakra is activated, she may take that moment to do a little investigation, so to speak. And I don't really mean do an investigation because I don't feel like you need to do that. Let your heart do that. Well, there it is. There it is. There's the one that kept coming out. It's Two of Cups, soulmates. Hello, over magician. Fool right above it. And it's mirroring your will, your destiny. This isn't any old love. This is a soulmate. And you know what's so perfect about soulmates is, how I felt like you had a broken wing? Soulmates definitely help heal each other. They lift each other. Doesn't mean I wouldn't tell you, like, like you're not letting passion flow. Like I would be honest, but it's only to help you. There it is. And how lovely it is also coming under the Eight of Cups, emotional clarity. It's showing us that you do move into this inner harmony if you allow. And I feel like it's simply saying, how do I move into this inner harmony? It's the clearing of the past. It's taking away the power of the past, the people of the past, the naysayers of the past. And it's putting the energy back on you again, believing in yourself, believing in love. Even if you've had it rough, the truth is, we do have to kiss a lot of frogs or, to find our ultimate prince or princess. But then when we do, well, baby, well, there's the Ten of Pentacles. And that's the energy I feel like lasts a lifetime and beyond. And I say beyond because the seeds within the Ten of Pentacles take root. Hello, Two of Cups. 5 times it came out. And then we have the Hermit. Wow. Okay. Well, that is this year. And what I love is this Hermit is sitting on a ledge, just like the Fool, shining his beacon of light outwardly. You know, you are natural healers and you are the seed planters. But sometimes we can get lost. The Hermit does talk about going through the dark night of the soul. And it makes sense coming over the Hangman, right? I'm seeking wisdom. I'm seeking the light. And in the Hermit's energy, you finally figure out that you are the light. You are the light. Excuse me 1 second. Okay. Had a knock at my door. So, the Hermit, shining his beacon of light outwardly. I could see some of you being like some type of spiritual advisor, shining the wisdom that you have now gained and helping others to overcome. That's one of the things you do best. And I want to say, Aries, one of the things that you like to do is really save people, right? You like to help people overcome. And that's beautiful. But the problem is, I feel like part of what you learn as you mature, let's say, is who I'm helping. And am I helping them by giving them a hand up? Or are they expecting a hand out? I have a feeling they were expecting a hand out. But now you know that. And that's power. I love the hangman coming over or the hermit coming over the hangman. Because again, some of you, like, this is spiritual wisdom that you're gaining, but to use on this earthly plane. We do have double Virgo on the table also. Two of Cups, mirroring your wheel, connected to the Fool. The Hermit sitting on that ledge, just as you normally would see the Fool, not in this image, but normally you see the Fool right on that ledge. Do I take that leap of faith? It's interesting too. I wish I could show you the image. But I often feel like when you see the Fool on the ledge, I feel like if I would fall, my angels would catch me. Because I do feel like this is about taking that leap. I do feel like you are shutting down the energy at first, but I still feel like you can't deny what you feel. You could say no, but I don't feel like it's because you don't feel it. If you say no, I feel like it's just more fear. Because the passion connected to this energy, this reading, is really off the charts. And the star is about your dreams and about manifesting them, and you have the actual manifester. That means that let's put it this way. We're in the universal year of the Hermit, and this reflection has been so important. Number one, mirroring the Five of Swords, toxic energy, toxic people, toxic person. Why would I want to invite that into my next chapter? Could be nostalgia. Could be because that's what I'm used to. But is it what you're happy with? Does it allow your heart to sing with joy? Or is it the opposite? And if it is the opposite, this is exactly what it's showing. Like, I feel like they're being very tender with you. We're going to activate that heart chakra first. We're going to let you feel something good is about to happen. And even though I still feel you'll be a little fearful, it's almost like you're going to you're going to pull back on your energy and allow them to show you. I want to say to prove it to you, but I don't know if that would be the best thing to say, like prove to me that you want to be with me. I feel like the actions alone will prove that. This is a soulmate, and you've been connected before, whether earlier in life or past lives or both. And if this is the soulmate's timing, which is exactly what it's saying, and it's interesting because it's like between the hermit and the magician's energy. Well, this is for November. So, you know, we're running out of the energy of the hermit. And if you look at this and say to yourself the truth that we are starting a brand new 9-year cycle, and it is important that I know what I want in this next 9 years. Like, plant those seeds now. And this fear from the Eight of Swords, even though I do feel like you're being a little resistant as this energy starts to move towards you, I don't feel like you really want it. Like, I don't feel like you really want to have those walls. But I feel like what you want is, if I'm going to fall in love, that it be true love. So until then, and I do feel like you may say, or you may not say it, but you'll probably think it like, I am not going to jump right into this. And I don't feel like you have to. I feel like this is meant to start at the beginning. This is two people starting to build a foundation together. And the Ten of Pentacles is what I would consider the strongest foundation. I do feel like a lot of you have been pouring your energy into how you make your money. And I also feel like there's going to be new ideas and epiphanies as it relates to that also. Like this Star card and the Nine of Cups, they both speak about your wishes, your dreams. And I like how the Nine of Cups is coming over the moon, which is very dreamy energy. The Nine of Cups, you're allowing yourself to dream. And you're very open in the Nine of Cups. Doesn't mean everything in my life is perfect, but I have found that inner harmony. You find it through the Eight of Cups. You find it by saying, I'm not going to let past people who played with my heart, I am not going to allow them to affect my future, nor my present. They're yesterday's news. Fleetwood Mac. All right. What do I want to look at? I feel like your reading is very clear. And I do kind of feel like, I either will or I won't. But I feel like the energy itself is going to be so strong that it's going to be hard to deny it. And I think that's why we're seeing like the Eight of Swords go to the Seven of Cups, because the Seven of Cups, at least you're considering it. Considering what? This Ace of Cups. So that Eight of Cups or that Eight of Swords goes down to the Two of Swords. And I do feel like that is natural energy. But for some, it can mean like for some, you may still be in that energy of the Ten of Swords. But I don't feel like you could be happy, at least not emotionally. Because I feel like it would take a lot to shut you down, like to shut your creativity down. Because I do feel like this is also talking about epiphanies and ideas to help you within your finances, whether like new avenues that you're adding to an existing business. You know, it's hard when the emperor gets their heart hurt. And why? Because you want to help. And you're like, damn, you helped the wrong person. Well, don't look at it that way. Someone took advantage of your good nature. And shame on them and goodbye to them. All right. I just want to look at this Knight of Swords that's in reverse. Because this is the only thing, well, I mean, I'm feeling here that this talks about passion coming in, right? The Ace of Wands begins. It's what activates the heart chakra. And then the Knight of Cups is passion that's coming in. Well, I don't feel like a knight. Well, let me put it a different way. I feel like a knight will complete its mission come hell or high water. But it doesn't mean you're accepting the energy. So I feel like this person, I feel like they have some work to do to win your heart. But I feel like they will win your heart. Okay. So I want to look at this a little bit closer. Okay, so I feel like they're going to win your heart. Am I right? We have the unknown card. This is the high priestess. But this is the high priestess with a cloudy crystal ball. Reminds me of the moon, right? I can only see so far. But I feel like what it's saying is this is the energy where I may not be trusting my intuition. And then we have the devil, part of Capricorn. But this can speak about temptations. And then we have the Three of Pentacles. Well, let me tell you, because we're talking about love right now, but I feel like this is multiple things for you. Let's start with love. This is about the appreciation of who you are. This is the appreciation of exactly who you are. Even those broken wings. It's okay. It's okay. I'm sure they've had a broken wing. Three of Pentacles, it's also so great for your money. Like, what is it you want to build? And don't worry about if other people do it, because this really signifies that, there's something special about what you do. No matter how many people do it, no one does it quite like you. And I often feel that this person behind them is like a secret admirer. Could be someone who admires your work already. I feel like the devil, unless it's a Capricorn for you, that it may talk about like, before this temptation. Well, I feel like the Ten of Swords tempted you to it. But the devil talks about illusion. So the illusion of the devil, the illusion of the shadow. But I can break through that illusion because that's all it is. It's just an illusion. How do I know this person will appreciate me for who I am? They will show you. There's a lot of action-oriented energy on the board. They're going to show you. But let me tell you, I feel like the Three of Pentacles also wants you to say to yourself, there is no one else like me. I'm not perfect, but nobody is. Okay, let's pick that up. And I think I just want to look at the Six of Cups, get a closer idea of who this may be. And then we will move to the clarifying love situations and the soulmates. I'm so glad the soulmates came out. I mean, in a way, I knew they'd come out. And what a different energy from the Ten of Swords, dagger after dagger in my back. Damn it. Toxicity. Probably why I even mentioned Mercury. There could have been like bad communication or even a lack of communication. But when we did communicate, it may not have been good. So what wants to close, it's not serving you any longer anyway. And I'm saying all that because the Six of Cups is not attached to that energy. We have the Seven of Pentacles. Well, my friends, this is your tree of life. This is what is meant to be. These are those seeds that have been planted. And these seeds are coming to fruition. Seven of Pentacles' first message is patience. So think about when you plant a seed. You are the seed planter, right? When you plant a seed, you want to nurture that seed. You're not going to stand over it, be like, come on already, come on already. No, you're going to nurture it, make sure it has sunlight. Well, that's what I feel like the universe has been doing for the lovers. I just realized the two sixes mirroring each other also. Two people may have moved on from previous relationships. And, if this person dealt with the Ten of Swords also, there's no one who's going to understand you better. But the Seven of Pentacles, to me, it's just meant to be. It's like the wheel to me. But the patience, I feel like, lie within the star. I don't feel like you just have one wish coming true. I feel like you have two. And I do feel like one is love. And I feel like the other one is through like epiphanies, ideas, And this may come out of the blue. Like you may find like something draws you to a video on YouTube, and you may say to yourself, I think I could do that. Something piques your interest and you choose to follow it. I don't feel any blocks as it relates to your money. I feel like you can only make that better and better and better. And I know who's ever coming in because we have the Ten of Pentacles. They themselves, let's just say, have their life together financially, but probably even emotionally. I'm not saying again that they're perfect, but I don't feel like that. Like, I don't feel like this is someone who runs. Like, if you say, oh, I don't know, I don't think so. I feel like they would understand. Like, there's a sense of understanding what you've been through, and therefore they're not gun shy. They don't run away. They may give you some space, but then I feel like then they reemerge again. They may be the very reason why you ultimately go through the Eight of Cups energy. Can't deny this. And for some of you, it's an answered prayer coming right over the Magician's energy. Like we got to find a way not to not to let past love, past relationships, past people who just didn't work out in our favor for whatever the reason. We want to be careful not to allow our decision making be based on that. Now, instead, what you want to do is trust your intuition. I often feel in the Ten of Swords, we were probably given red flags, but we probably ignored them. And that's human nature. I mean, we've all done that. I can think of many red flags that I ignored, and I paid the price. I paid the price. But I paid the price, and then I moved on. All right. I don't even know what I was looking at anymore. Um, let's just go ahead and bring out the clarifying love situations. Aries, you're usually the one that's helping to heal the broken wings of others. And this time, I feel like allow others to help heal your broken wing. Okay. We have devotion blooms. Nurture both blossoms and thorns with tenderness. Nurture both blossoms and thorns with tenderness. And then we have boundless spirit. Your only limits are the ones that you put on yourself. That's a perfect message. Your only limits are the ones that you put on yourself. That's exactly what the Chariot tells you. And then look at this, unexpected joys. Life's surprises are gifts, opening doors to unforeseen adventures. One more time, Aries. Life's surprises are gifts, opening doors to unseen adventures. Well, no one likes an adventure more than the Fool. And the Fool has his greatest mentor along for the ride, the Magician. And you put those energies together, this star, the wishes within that Nine of Cups, there's really nothing that can come in between that except for us. So, life's surprises are gifts. All right. Last but not least, let's bring out the romance angels, which in a way we don't really need because we have both the lovers and the soulmates. We have the Ace of Cups, the Ace of Wands, the Fool and the Magician. I mean, I could go on and on and on. The Star and the Nine of Cups, both answering or fulfilling wishes. And some of you just may be so surprised by it that you do put a little halt to it, like, whoa, let me catch my breath. That's all right. Getting to know you. Getting to know each other. As you reveal your innermost selves to each other, your bond deepens. I love this image because I feel like they're just two people who met. They're having a conversation, though she did invite him over to the house. So that's something. And I feel like the daughter is like listening to everything this man has to say. Some of you come as a package deal, and that's that. But I don't feel like this man would, like, that's fine. She's enjoying herself. The woman. It's like, kind of like she's being flirted with. She's enjoying it. The daughter is like very serious. Better mean what you say. Now, let's say you don't have a daughter or a son, then I feel like this is probably a spirit guide. All right. Dun, dun, dun. Attraction. You attract romantic love by enjoying this moment fully. Full. It's the fool's energy. Look what she's doing. She's up and smelling the roses. Then we have probably an important component to this whole thing. Release your ex. The time has come to clear your energy. You know, it's interesting because it's like she has a Dear John letter in her hand. And for some of you, you know, it can talk about love that you didn't expect to end, but yet it did. And you may still be hanging on to that. But what if it ended because something else was meant to open? Like, ask yourself that. What if this was, it had an expiration date? And now I gotta let it go and let it be. Ah, worth waiting for. Divine timing is at work in your love life. Well, we see it all through the reading. But how beautiful that this came out and told you that it's actually divine, divine that is working in your love life. That puts a whole different light on the Two of Cups, the soulmates, and the lovers. And it doesn't surprise me because you have your will, your destiny, worth waiting for. You know, I do feel like something had to end for this to begin. And this getting to know each other, I feel like that's a little bit of why the Knight of Wands is in reverse. It's not that I'm naturally saying automatically no. But it is kind of that feeling of like, you got to win my heart. And I feel like they will. They do. Because divine is going to do their best. You know, this Seven of Pentacles we saw earlier, many times I feel like some of those seeds are pre-planted, like pre-planted before we came into this lifetime. I often feel that for soulmates. Like this is your divine time. And maybe everyone else before were lessons. And you could have been the teacher also. Like, don't forget that. But we're either the teacher or the student. Well, now you are the teacher. And I don't know. I just don't feel like this is saying, like, there's anything. Well, let's just say this as it relates to your money. The Nine of Pentacles talks about material harvest, whether you're just starting to see the fruits of your labor or you are in it. But keep your eye to the sky because I feel like there's still new things that you can incorporate that may come out of the blue. And that's what I'm feeling for your money. And then I feel for love. Wow. I mean, it just feels like it's meant to happen. And I love the fact that it went from the Nine of Pentacles to the Ten of Pentacles. So I feel like I don't have to worry here. I really don't have to worry. To me, the Ten of Pentacles, again, it takes root. It's grounded energy. So will you or won't you? Will you allow someone to fix that broken wing? And you may be doing the same. This just feels meant to be, but will we allow it to be? I feel like that's where I got to put it on you. I can't answer that question for you. That's your free will. All right, I'm going to let this be. Wow. I feel like those who have that broken wing, get ready. You're going to start flying again. You're going to start flying. And you know, you only think it's impossible until it becomes possible, especially as it relates to love. Especially those who are like, there's no way I'm going to like let myself love again. But maybe deep in your soul, you really want it. So your soul is manifesting it. But it is worth the wait. I knew the Two of Cups would come out. I knew that you were soulmates. I just knew it. And I know this is your destined time. But I feel like the rest, I just have to leave up to you and them. And so I will. I love you guys. I thank you. I'll see you next time at our table. Bye-bye.